Hey everybody, it's Pastor Ray, and thanks for tuning in to Refuel. It's our Accelerate devotionals, and we'll get to this in just a second. I just want to say this, 6 days from now, we are going to be having the largest leadership gathering in the history of our church right in our worship center on Thursday night. If you've not gotten connected to that, call the church office, go on our Facebook, go on our website, do something, but make sure you're there. It's one of those historic nights that we're going to operate off of for a very long time after that. Now, we have been talking about the joy, the challenge of obeying God. And I want to wrap this up today. We are saying, day number one, obey God immediately. The Bible calls us to obey God completely, obey God joyfully. We talked about that yesterday. And today, here it is, it's obey God continually. Okay? I love what the psalmist said. I enjoy obeying your commands. I find pleasure in obeying your commands. 1 John says this, loving God means doing what he tells us to do. The older I get, the more I appreciate faithfulness instead of flash. There are a lot of people out there that are going, they claim to be Christians, and they might even obey for a little while, but then it doesn't last long over the whole thing. Howard Hendricks told a great story. He was on a track one day, and a guy said, come on, let's race. And they went tearing around the track, and Hendricks beat the guy all the way around once, and he's feeling really good about it until the guy catches him, and he keeps going. And Hendricks thought, I thought I was running one lap. This guy was racing him for a mile, and he said, I got slaughtered. The Christian life is not a 100-yard dash. It is a long-distance race, and it is obeying God. That's why I have a new definition of integrity. Here's my definition of integrity. Integrity is being willing to fight and win some lifelong battles. It means I'm saying yes to God for a long time. This obey God immediately, completely, joyfully, and continually is a summary of what Peter learns in Luke chapter 5. Peter ends up in Luke chapter 5. They fished all night. They've caught nothing. He hears Jesus say, hey, put out deeper, throw the nets, you'll have a catch. Peter's going, Master, we fished all night but caught nothing. And all of a sudden, he obeys. And because he obeys, everything changes. When somebody obeys, everything changes. And I want to wrap this whole week up by telling you the most exciting thing about Luke chapter 5. Here it is. This happens when Peter gets called by Jesus to become a disciple. It's 3 years later. Jesus has been put on a cross and Jesus has been killed, which means Peter has lost it all. He's lost the guy he was following. He is so discouraged, so disillusioned, and so devastated, not just by Jesus, but by his own failure to be there for Jesus when Jesus needed him, that Peter is so discouraged that in John chapter 21, he goes back to fishing. And he hears they fish all night, they catch nothing. And in John chapter 21, you hear the account, Peter hears a voice from the shore, and the voice said, hey, friends, you haven't caught anything, have you? And the disciples all look at him and go, no. And then he hears a voice from shore, and he had to go, where have I heard this? He hears a voice from shore saying, throw your net on the right side of the boat, and you'll find some. When they do, they are unable to haul the nets because of the large number of fish. Then Peter says, it's the Lord, jumps in and swims to shore, reconnects with Jesus, is forgiven by Jesus, and his entire future changes, and we're talking about him 2,000 years later. You know what I love about Luke chapter 5? This happens once. Luke chapter 5 formed the foundation so that 3 years later, in his darkest hour, when Peter heard the words, throw your net on the other side, you can see him going, where have I heard that before? Jesus brought Luke chapter 5 back into his experience and used his prior experience of obedience to comfort him, reassure him, and set him on fire again. Obedience lasts well over a lifetime. Faithfulness is about the best characteristic any human being could ever have. I've got 2 daughters. What do I want to marry? Hey, is the guy rich? Fine with me. Are they faithful, though? That's what I'm looking for. Faithfulness is the quality everybody appreciates and almost nobody has, man. Develop that today. How do you develop faithfulness? Obey God continually. just keep saying yes to Jesus. Hey, we love you guys. It's been a privilege to share this with you. Keep obeying God. It's the beginning of all the miracles that happen, and we'll see you this weekend. God bless you. Have a great weekend. See you at church.